lovelies, it's Ramona, and today I'm coming to you completely barefaced to answer a question that I have been curious about for quite a while, and that is whether or not a beauty blender, this little thing right here, is actually the best makeup sponge on the market, or if there is maybe another one that could do the job just as well. You should know the name Beauty Blender. It is a makeup sponge that kind of took the makeup community by storm a couple of years ago, I want to say. And it is a makeup sponge that whenever it initially came out, people used it dry and liked it. And whenever someone had the idea to finally wet it, it really did revolutionize the way that makeup is put on. Most people do use some form of a makeup sponge now in their makeup application. And there are other companies that have come up with different types of knockoffs, dupes, similar products, and things of that sort so that they can get in on the market. So beauty blenders do come in three main colors. We have the hot pink that is the most common. It is the beginner one. It's the original color that they came out with. Whew. I'm gonna ask y'all to please excuse my hair. I am still in the growing out process from a very asymmetrical cut, and it is reaching the unmanageable point. But if I can just tough it out for about 5 more months, I'm hoping I can actually have a normal bob. So just excuse the craziness. Back to beauty blenders. They come in 3 main colors, I believe. You have the hot pink, which is the original main beauty blender, and then I think that they have released a black. And then the one that I have is the sapphire blue color. I think it is the newest color that they have released. These sponges do retail for $20 a piece, which, if you know me, is one of the reasons that I have shied away from buying one for quite some time, because $20 on a sponge just kind of blows my mind. But I know that y'all would want to know, is it really worth the money, or can you find a better dupe somewhere else? So the sponge that I am putting it up against today is the Real Techniques sponge. And this one is a little bit different as it does have a flat side. See that right there? It does still have the pointed end, just like the same egg shape. You'll see right here. And this one is completely rounded, while this one does have a flat side. The Real Techniques sponge is the one that I use in my everyday life. I have so far. It is $5 at my local grocery store, and to me that just seems a lot more manageable than $20 for a sponge. But now, over time, I will be able to figure out whether or not maybe the beauty blender lasts a little bit longer for its price point than the Real Technique one does. So I have noticed that with the Real Technique sponges, I do need to trade them out about once every 2 weeks with really good washing. They do tend to hold product even after being washed and sanitized. So I don't know how the beauty blender itself will stack up to that. Maybe better, maybe worse, maybe the same. But I will give an update at a later time to let you know how long it has lasted me. So the first thing that we're gonna do is just compare them. They are the 2 ones right here. Again, Beauty Blender, Real Techniques. I am going to go wet them and let you see how big they get once water has been applied. But here's them dry, and I will be right back to show you how big they are when wet. And this is them after water has been applied. You can see that they have grown in size. They are soft and squishy. I will say that as far as the density goes, the Real Techniques brush does have a bit more density to it. The Beauty Blender is a lot softer of a sponge. And the Real Techniques does have a little bit more thickness to it. It is a little bit harder to squeeze. So that may have an impact on makeup, that may not. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my foundation. I'm going to be doing the Beauty Blender on this side of my face and the Real Techniques on this side of my face. I'm going to be applying the same primer and the same foundation to both sides of my face. That way everything is identical, and we will see what it looks like after that. So the primer that I'm going to be using today is the NYX Angel Veil Primer. It was recommended to me as one of the top drugstore brand primers, and I have been using it and really liking it. So I'm just going to put some on both of my fingers, smooth on my face. And this really does create a nice smoothing finish to your skin. Going to apply a nice good layer underneath your foundation to help smoothen it out. Make sure that you're not highlighting any imperfections whenever you are applying your foundation. Oh man, the flyaways are real, guys. Alright, so the foundation that I'm going to be using today is the Born This Way foundation by Too Faced. It is the one that I have been using the most lately, and this is in the color Almond. It is a lot lighter shade than I thought that I would wear, but it is so far one of the best matched foundations that I have found. I'm going to first apply it to my hand, that way I am picking it up off of the same surface. I'm going to go in first with my Real Technique sponge, since that is what I'm used to. And I get it in on the flat side, pick it up off my hand, and then I dab in. And with makeup sponges, no matter which one you're using, you want to really push the product into your skin. You don't ever want to wipe the product on, because with a sponge, you're just going to be moving it around. Now this one looks normal to me. Like I said, the Real Technique sponge is the one that I use in my everyday life. So this application for me is nothing new. It is just the same as it always has been. I use the smaller sides to get in here and up closer to my hairline. Alright, so that is the first side done. I'm going to move on to the other side and try the Beauty Blender for the very first time. Now I did not mention earlier, but it should be said that both of these sponges are brand new. Even though I do typically use a Real Technique sponge, I did buy a brand new one for this so that it was completely unused. Did not have any saved up product in there. It was not dirty at all. I'm going to go in with the rounded end of the Beauty Blender, pick up some of the product, and pat it on. I will say that right away, I like the feel of the Beauty Blender on my skin better. I can't tell just yet if there's a difference in application, but it does just feel nicer. I also like the rounded edge because it does not, I don't need to switch to the tiny edge in order to get in these small areas. It is pretty small and you can squeeze it down, whereas the Real Techniques is a flat edge and it's got a very wide space right here. It's really hard to make that smaller whenever you're getting in the smaller areas. Alright, so that is the other side done as well. Again, this is the Beauty Blender side, this is the Real Technique side. I have not done any concealer or powder yet. This is just the initial pass with my foundation. Now I'm going to get a close up and let you know what I think. There doesn't seem to be a huge difference in application from what I can see. Maybe the Beauty Blender side is just a hair better blended, but I don't think that it's enough to tell. Let's go in and put on my concealer and add some powder, and then we will see how it holds up after a little wear, okay? So the concealer that I'm using as well is the new Born This Way Sculpting Concealer in the color Snow, and it is just as awesome as people have raved about. I did an initial test with this product on my channel. I used the color Almond, which is the exact same shade as the foundation that I use, and that was just too much of a match for me. I wanted something a little bit lighter for some highlighting purposes, so I did go ahead and go out and purchase the lighter color. Normal crazy concealer. Alright, Real Techniques on this side. The pointed end does get up against your eye very easily. Got a nice point. I know some people do also like to use the flat side under here as well. I think either one works well. On these middle lines of my face, it's a little hard to share the blending. And then on this side, the Beauty Blender. I will say that I also feel like the Beauty Blender holds the water better. It is not obviously soaking wet. It is completely wrung out after being damp. But the Beauty Blender does seem to stay damp longer, which does help with the application. Flip this and use the pointed side to get into the corners of my eyes as well. All right, and that is concealer blended in. I'm gonna get a little bit closer to see. Okay, for this one, I am going to say I like the Beauty Blender side better. I feel like with my concealer, especially underneath my eyes, the Beauty Blender helped keep it from getting into my creases too much. You can tell on this side it is settling into my creases, which is something that I have noticed with the sponge before and have had to take steps to change. So maybe that is a plus on the Beauty Blender side. I'd have to do a whole face to let you know, which I will, and I'll update you later. But let's apply some powder as well. We are using my Cover FX translucent setting powder. It's the same powder that I use in my everyday routine, so it will not change up the routine at all. Should be the same as what I'm expecting it to be. Alright, and then the Real Technique side first. I do use the flat side, put some powder on, and go underneath my eyes. First, just set the concealer. And now the Beauty Blender. I'm going to pick up powder on the end, the pointed side, to get up underneath my eye. It does not have quite as much surface area for powder as the Real Techniques does, so that is going to be one plus for the Real Techniques. However, I feel like if you are using the Beauty Blender for any sort of baking, where you may need to get into highlighting areas, maybe contouring areas, this point is a lot thinner, I think. I honestly don't remember if I've said this already in this video, but I feel like the Beauty Blender does not hold on to as much product as the Real Techniques does. So that's good because you're not wasting product. Alright, so that is a full face of foundation, concealer, and powder. This side with the Beauty Blender, and this side with the Real Technique sponge. So, I am going to wash these out next. That is going to be the last test that we do right now. I'm going to see which one retained the most product so that we can see which one's going to be the big product waster. Okay, so I am back. I did wash out both sponges and was correct. The Real Techniques did tend to hold on to a bit more product. At least from what I can tell with the amount of colored water coming out of them while I was washing them. I did use the same amount of soap, the same kind of soap, running in the same water. This one did wash a lot more product out. This one did come clean with a lot less makeup-y water, or whatever that's worth. So, I am going to actually stop this here, go film another video for you guys, and then whenever I am done with that look, I'm gonna come back at the end of here so that you can see a full face, and after I've worn that face a little while, you can see what it is like for the different sides, see if it made a difference. At this point, I'm gonna tell you that I don't see a huge difference. I did like the Beauty Blender side for different things. I do like the Real Technique sponge for its price point. I don't know that the things that I like about the Beauty Blender are worth $14, $15 more. So we will see. But there are some things I do like about it, so it's not a total waste of $20. And I will let you guys know what I think here in a little bit. Alright, so it's a little bit later, probably about 3 hours or so. I have finished my other video for y'all, Norvina palette. If you want to see how to recreate this look, go ahead and hit that link above. It will show you how to do it. I had a lot of fun with it, and it's just an amazing palette. But back to the matter at hand, is the Beauty Blender a better sponge than the Real Technique sponge? Is it worth the $20? Can we save some money, please, and keep the Real Technique sponge? And I think the overall answer is yes, with some caveats. The Real Technique sponge is $15 less than the Beauty Blender sponge. Here's this one, here's this one. Comparatively, they are very, very similar. There are some things that I like about the Beauty Blender. One of those being it is softer, it is more malleable, it does not pick up as much product, so it distributes more on your skin. You're not wasting as much product. While you are using it, it does hold the water very well, so that's a good juxtaposition. Although the Real Technique sponge feels wetter longer, I feel like when it's applying your makeup, it dries faster. I don't know if that makes any sense, just what it felt like on my skin and how it distributed the product that I was using. I do feel like on the side of my face where I use the Real Technique sponge, I do see more texture right in here. there is a little bit more texture right on this side than on this side. I feel like it may not have applied quite as evenly, but overall, I don't know that it's a $15 difference in quality. I don't know that it performs $15 more better. So I will enjoy my beauty blender while I have it. I don't know that I will buy another one, but I may, just depends. Real Techniques is a viable option for people who are looking to save money and have something that performs almost as well. So I hope that was helpful. I hope I was able to point you in the right direction, whichever way you want to go. I don't think you could go wrong with either, so it just depends on what your wallet is telling you. I hope that y'all enjoyed this video, found something helpful from it. If you liked it, go ahead and leave a thumbs up down below. And while you're at it, subscribe, because I have gotten my upload schedule a little bit better on track, and I'm uploading once and twice a week. So you want to subscribe and ding, hit that bell. That way you're notified every time I have new content. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Bye!